Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Izix, and today we're doing a video on how to be a good trans ally. When it comes to being an ally, I feel that with our community, basically you just have to be real accepting and try to educate yourself on things. I'll be honest and say that I didn't really understand a lot of the new terms that are out there and the way people are expressing themselves nowadays because I'm older, so I wasn't used to it. But what I did, I educated myself, I asked questions, and learned. And I think a lot of people just don't realize that there's a lot of older people in the community that just don't know. So I'm like this: if people want to ask questions, I'll answer them as long as I could tell that they're not being rude, that they're genuinely asking out of a place of curiosity and not trying to be malicious. Because how do we expect people to be allies if we don't take the time to educate them? So it doesn't bother me when people ask questions because you could tell a lot of the time by their tone. But to be a good ally, you just really have to do your part and keep that in mind. I understand that some things can be triggering or create sensitivity and raise dysphoria with you. But at the same time, we also have to educate. I've had people tell me that they had one view on trans people prior to meeting me, and then they got to know me, and that I opened up their mind to being more accepting of trans individuals just because they didn't personally know any. And I will say that when I was younger, the only time I ever heard of a trans person, it was always associated with something bad because I grew up in the 90s. So anything that media covered or anything back then, it was always taboo. It always made them seem like bad people. It always just associated it with negativity. And unless you see positivity in that community, that's just how people are going to view you until you change their perspective on that. So me personally, like I said, I don't mind educating people because you could tell by tone if they're trying to be malicious or if they're genuinely just trying to learn. And those are steps that I take to try to to open people's minds. And it's sad because even in our own community, you have issues with people accepting the T and the LGBT community. And it's just because, again, like I was telling you, it's always been associated with something bad for those older generations. I was born in the late 80s, so I grew up in the 90s. So for people like around that age, they probably dealt with the same thing, viewing media and trans people being associated with negativity rather than positivity, which nowadays we have a lot more visibility, so there is a lot more positivity coming out, but we have to do our part in changing people's views. We have to do our part in educating people. And I feel like that's something that we tend to not do. And I feel that we probably should. But at the same time, don't put yourself out too much. Um, you could tell, like I said, at least I could tell who's being genuine and who isn't. You don't want to put yourself in danger or at risk. Typically, I just educate people that are in the same community, like if it's at one of the gay bars or something like that, because you know that there's going to be people there to protect you in any way in case it is someone who's against that. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, guys, and we'll see you next time.